For years, you've probably been told the same story. If you want better results, be more disciplined. If you're falling behind, work harder. If you keep procrastinating, develop stronger willpower. It sounds reasonable. But what if this advice has been pointing you in the wrong direction all along? Most people don't suffer because they lack discipline. They suffer because they believe discipline is supposed to feel natural. They look at highly productive people and assume those people wake up excited every morning, focused, motivated, ready to conquer the day. But reality is far less glamorous. The entrepreneur struggles with distractions. The writer battles resistance. The athlete wakes up tired. The difference is not that they feel less resistance. The difference is that they understand something most people don't. Success is rarely built on motivation. It's built on structure. Think about your own life. How many times have you promised yourself that this week would be different? You would wake up earlier, exercise consistently, stop wasting time online. Yet somehow, after a few days, the old habits returned. And when they did, you blamed yourself. You called yourself lazy, undisciplined, weak. But perhaps the problem was never your character. Perhaps you've been trying to solve the wrong problem. Because discipline is not simply about forcing yourself to do difficult things. It's about understanding the forces that shape your behavior before a decision is ever made. And once you understand those forces, everything begins to look different. Not easier, but clearer. Your brain was never designed for modern success. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that their brain is designed to help them achieve their goals. It isn't. At least, not in the way most people think. Your brain was designed to keep you alive. And for most of human history, survival looked very different from modern success. There were no deadlines, no business meetings, no fitness goals, no self-improvement podcasts. There was only one question that mattered. How do I survive today? Because of that, the human brain evolved to value comfort, conserve energy, and seek immediate rewards whenever possible. That strategy worked perfectly thousands of years ago. Today, it creates a problem. Modern life rewards long-term thinking. The brain prefers short-term relief. You want to save money. Your brain wants the pleasure of spending. You want to focus on meaningful work. Your brain wants a quick hit of stimulation. You want to build a better future. Your brain keeps pulling you back toward what feels good right now. And this internal conflict can be exhausting. Many people interpret it as personal failure, but it isn't. It's simply the collision between ancient wiring and modern expectations. This is why relying on willpower alone often feels like swimming against a powerful current. You may succeed for a while, but eventually fatigue arrives. Stress appears. Life gets complicated, and suddenly the easier option starts looking attractive again. The Stoics understood that wisdom begins with seeing reality clearly. And reality is this: your brain is not your enemy, but it is not automatically your ally either. The moment you understand how it operates, you stop fighting blindly, and you start playing a smarter game. Stop fighting yourself. Environment is more powerful than willpower. Most people believe success is an inner battle, a battle between discipline and temptation, between focus and distraction, between strength and weakness. But what if the real battle is happening somewhere else? Look around your room for a moment. The objects surrounding you are not neutral. They influence your decisions more than you realize. A phone beside your bed invites scrolling. A television in the background invites distraction. A bag of snacks on the counter invites overeating. You don't have to make a conscious decision. Your environment is already making suggestions for you. every single day. This is why willpower is often overrated, because willpower works only after temptation appears. Environment works before temptation arrives. Imagine two people trying to build the same habit. One leaves workout clothes ready by the bed. The other searches for them every morning. One keeps a book on the nightstand. The other stores it in a drawer. One removes distractions before work begins. The other hopes self-control will save the day. Who do you think succeeds more consistently? Not the stronger person, the better prepared one. The Stoics rarely spoke about controlling the world. They focused on controlling what could be influenced. And your environment is one of those things. You cannot always control your emotions. You cannot always control your motivation. But you can control what is within reach. You can make good choices visible. You can make bad choices inconvenient. And when you do that, something remarkable happens. The right action starts requiring less effort. Not because you've become more disciplined, but because you've stopped making discipline do all the work. Procrastination is not laziness. Few words carry more shame than procrastination. People say it quietly, almost like a confession. I keep putting things off. I know what I should do, but I don't do it. And eventually, many arrive at the same conclusion. Maybe I'm just lazy. But what if that conclusion is wrong? Think about the last time you procrastinated. Was it something easy and enjoyable? Probably not. It was likely a difficult conversation, a challenging project, a workout, a financial decision you've been avoiding. The pattern is important. We rarely procrastinate pleasurable activities. We procrastinate uncomfortable ones. This reveals something most people overlook. Procrastination is often an emotional problem disguised as a productivity problem. The task itself is not what we avoid. It's the feeling attached to it. Uncertainty, fear of failure, boredom, overwhelm. The brain senses discomfort and immediately searches for relief. And relief is everywhere. A notification, a video, a quick scroll, a meaningless distraction that feels easier than facing the task. For a moment, the discomfort disappears, but later it returns with interest. Now you have the original task and the guilt of avoiding it. This cycle repeats until people begin attacking their own character. But self-criticism rarely creates action. Understanding does. Instead of asking, "Why am I so lazy?" ask a different question. What makes this task difficult to begin? That question changes everything. Because once the obstacle becomes visible, it can be reduced. And when the barrier becomes smaller, action becomes possible. Not through force, but through clarity. You don't need more motivation. Many people spend their lives waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect morning, the perfect burst of motivation. And while they wait, time quietly moves forward. This is one of the most expensive mistakes a person can make, because motivation is unreliable. Some days it arrives without invitation. Other days it disappears without explanation. If your progress depends on motivation, your progress will always be unstable. Look at any meaningful achievement. Writing a book, building a business, getting in shape, learning a new skill. None of these happen because someone felt inspired every day. They happen because someone kept showing up when inspiration was absent. This is what many people misunderstand. Action does not always follow motivation. Very often, motivation follows action. The first step creates momentum. Momentum creates engagement. Engagement creates energy. A writer may not feel like writing until the first paragraph is finished. A runner may not want to train until the first mile is complete. A student may resist studying until 10 minutes have passed. The feeling they were waiting for appears only after movement begins. The Stoics understood this deeply. They did not believe life should be governed by emotions. Emotions change. Principles remain. And when your actions are guided by principles rather than feelings, consistency becomes possible. The goal is not to feel motivated every day. The goal is to become someone who can act regardless of how the day feels. Because discipline grows strongest when it no longer depends on emotion. Become the person first. Most people approach change from the outside in. They focus on outcomes. Lose weight. Earn more money. Read more books. Become disciplined. These goals seem reasonable, but they often fail because they focus on results before identity. Real transformation works in the opposite direction. It begins with a simple question: who am I becoming? Every habit is more than an action. It is evidence. Evidence of the type of person you believe yourself to be. Imagine someone trying to exercise consistently. If they see themselves as a person who constantly quits, every missed workout reinforces that belief. But if they begin to see themselves differently, something changes. A single workout becomes proof. A small walk becomes proof. Showing up on a difficult day becomes proof. Little by little, a new identity emerges. This process is quieter than most people expect. There is no dramatic breakthrough. No magical morning where everything changes. There are only small decisions repeated over time. The person who reads one page. The person who keeps one promise. The person who takes one difficult step. These moments appear insignificant, yet they are building something invisible. Character. The Stoics believed that who you become matters more than what you achieve. Because achievements can disappear, character remains. That is why lasting discipline is not about forcing yourself into better behavior. It is about becoming the kind of person for whom that behavior feels natural. Every action is a vote. Every choice is a declaration. Every day you are teaching yourself who you are. The question is simple. What identity are your actions reinforcing today? If there's one thing to take away from this conversation, it's this. Stop treating discipline as a test of character. For too long, people have looked at their struggles and reached the wrong conclusion. They fail to follow through on a goal and assume they lack strength. They break a habit and assume they lack commitment. They procrastinate and assume they lack ambition. But most of the time, the issue runs deeper than that. You are not fighting a lack of discipline. You are fighting patterns, environments, automatic behaviors that have been reinforced for years. And no amount of self-criticism can solve a problem that requires understanding. The truth is that lasting change rarely begins with a dramatic decision. It begins with awareness. The awareness that your brain seeks comfort, that your surroundings influence your choices, that motivation comes and goes, and that the person you become is shaped by the actions you repeat, not the promises you make. This should not discourage you. It should free you, because it means you do not need to become a completely different person overnight. You do not need endless willpower. You do not need to win every battle. You only need to create conditions that make the next right step easier. Then repeat. Again and again. Small actions. Small improvements. Small victories. Over time, they stop feeling small. One day, you look back and realize something remarkable. The habits that once felt impossible have become normal. The behaviors that required effort now happen automatically. And the person you wanted to become is no longer a future version of yourself. It is simply who you are. So, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start with one habit, one adjustment, one decision that moves you slightly closer to the life you want. Because every action is shaping an identity, and every identity is shaping a future. The question is not whether change is possible. The question is, what kind of person are you becoming, one decision at a time? If this video resonated with you, leave a comment below and share the one habit you're committed to improving. Sometimes, the smallest commitment is where the biggest transformation begins.